so pleased to have the support of the governor and DLT to have received this Real Jobs RI grant. It's been phenomenal. We have an amazing team. We have Rick Lavalette on the team. We have Keith Stokes here with the May 4th group, Dr. Joy McGurl-Hadley, who is the curriculum designer, and some other supporting people that you'll meet at the round table. So what we are doing is implementing a career pathway training system and establishing a talent pipeline. And why are we doing this? The governor has well stated that there is a need. Deepwater Wind was just awarded another contract to build 50 turbines off of Block Island and the Vineyard, and 22 off of Connecticut and 20 off of Montauk. And this is happening in the next 5 to 10 years. And an interesting statistic is for every commercial scale offshore wind project, 1,000 supply chain jobs are created. So with these hundreds of wind turbines going up not only off the coast of Rhode Island but the surrounding area, that's a lot of job opportunity. And we're really looking forward to presenting this curriculum. So our approach is at the primary and secondary education level and a post-secondary pathway, and then also addressing incumbent, underemployed, and unemployed. We had a convening session last year with all the businesses to learn about the skill sets that are needing and what is missing. And what we've met when we've met with those businesses and trades and associations is, as the governor had mentioned, it's an aging out workforce. So our strategy is to address wind energy and introduce students at the middle school level. We have committed to this Kid Wind curriculum program that's nationwide, and that will be introduced at the middle school level. We've also beta tested field trips. We've had 2 amazing field trips that I'll talk about in a little bit, and to have experiential learning. So at the middle school level, it's about exposure and hands-on experience to generate interest and just to encourage excitement. And then at the high school level, we have, I say we, Dr. Joy McGurl-Hadley, Barbara Morris have been instrumental in designing, along with Rick Powell, one of the teachers, and Dr. Phil Auger, in designing what we are going to beta test this fall. So we're actually launching this fall, and we will have our first graduating class at North Kingstown High School. There will be students who will receive this offshore wind energy certificate in 2020. So we're super excited about that. And what it entails is completing these 3 courses. 2 already exist that are part of Project Lead the Way, and then there would be a 3rd one that entails safety and transportation. This also would include OSHA certification that the teachers were just trained on. And then another interesting side note is all North Kingstown High School students have to pass the first aid class to graduate, so they already have that under their belt. That's included. And for the marine safety and transportation, I want to thank Charlie Donadio, who's been really helpful and has committed to providing an intern program and to speaking to the students. And what it entails, what he really needs and what marine transportation needs is this STCW10 certification. There's 4 modules. We would have the students take 3. The 4th one is firefighting. You can't do till you're 18, but can be easily obtained after. And so those 3 levels are basic sea survival, first aid certificate, and personal safety and social responsibility. And they also would receive initially, because you can't get your full license until you're 18, when you're 14 and older, you can get a 6-pack launch driver license. So these students will be taking this marine safety and transportation course as part of the offshore wind. So these are transferable skills, and this is another job outlet for them during the summers, during the school year, and then something that they can make a full-time profession if they want to. They can start off as a deckhand, and then a mate, and then eventually a captain. And we're designing that program with Charlie, and there'll be great intern opportunities for that. So, and then you can see here at the bottom the internships. 80 hours of work. That includes the 80 hours of work in the industry with the businesses that we want to connect the students with. We've been working with ecoRI, and thank you, Governor, for that program. It's been amazing. So we have businesses that we've identified, and then we also want to institute a wind turbine competition. Now, there's 22 nationwide, there's only one in New England, and it's in Maine. So we would be the second in the United States to have a wind energy turbine competition, and we would utilize the resources at ecoRI. They have a wind tunnel from a Perkins grant they received years ago, and it's not heavily utilized, so it'd be great to bring life back to that and bring the students there. So we'll be beta testing in year 2 of this grant, that competition. And then we're also establishing a professional development summer institute. And the career pathways, the introduction of the wind energy field includes the study of energy sources, marine transportation, engineering, government relations, environmental impact, and the community. So the field trips, we had one at the University of Rhode Island Coastal Resource Center, and it was amazing. And I think not only every student, but every parent should attend. We were in the auditorium with Jennifer McCann, and she talked about the whole SAMP approval process for getting the Block Island Windshore Farm up and running. And you know, all this, the process was very thought out, and they brought all the stakeholders into the room to talk about what their concerns are and address them. And because you had a lot of competing entities, you had the fisheries, you had the historic preservation groups, because there's some ships that are buried there. There were some Indian burial grounds, so there are a lot of competing interests, and all those stakeholders were brought in the room. And this SAM process is unbelievable. And Vineyard Wind Massachusetts does not have that SAM process. They're looking at our process. So again, something that other states are turning to Rhode Island to be the thought leaders and the strategists. So that was amazing to have that presentation. And then afterwards, we went in the conference room and we put the students into breakout groups, and they talked about, each one was one of those stakeholder groups, so they got to learn about what their concern would be in that area. And then we have a Block Island offshore wind farm field trip. We had to cancel it 3 times. You might recall the snow earlier this year. But we have rescheduled it to September 11th. It was September 12th, but we changed it to September 11th. We don't want it on the primary. So I hope you can join us for that. And then the student wind turbine competition, I mentioned that. By the way, one of our partners is the Business Network for Offshore Wind. They've been very helpful, and they have 5,000 members nationwide, and they want to partner with us on this competition and help bring in some sponsors and add some funding to help us. And so here you'll see, we would be the first, North Kingstown High School and the state of Rhode Island by 2020 would be the first in the nation to receive an offshore wind energy certificate. So we talk about this being a new industry. No one has tapped into this yet. And we wouldn't have been able to do this without, again, the support of the governor and the Real Jobs Grant and DLT and all of you, all the stakeholders in the room. So we're super excited to announce that. And it's equivalent to 9 college credits. And I'll bring up Joy for Q&A if you want to get into the nitty-gritty about the courses and credits and things like that. We have been meeting with the planners at ecoRI, New England Tech, and also URI, and they're very excited. And now we're at the point in year 2 of the grant, starting in September-October timeframe, and working on articulation agreements with them and having them acknowledge those credits. So we've talked to businesses, Deepwater Wind's acknowledging it. Charlie Donadio with Atlantic Wind Transfers is acknowledging it. We're hearing from businesses, this is great. We would hire somebody with this certification over somebody who hasn't had it because of the great exposure that they have and training. And so what have we accomplished in the first year since receiving the grant? We defined a high school certification curriculum at North Kingstown High School and at Rocky Hill School. We have Diane Rich here, who's just been promoted head of Rocky Hill School. We had 2 training tracks, beta testing tracks, one at a public school, one at a private school. One allowed a little bit more flexibility, and then we could compare the results of what works and what doesn't. So that's worked out really well, and Rocky Hill's been a great partner in that. And we've conducted the beta field trips. We had the Wind Farm 1 approaching. We purchased the Kid Wind curriculum and implementing that. And then we also conducted an offshore wind supply chain summit here on June 8th that Rick hosted again, and I want to thank Rick again so much for hosting today, and Amble International and all that you do for our board too. So we had an amazing supply chain conference here with 100 stakeholders in the room. Tom Alexander was one of them, Tom with the Lightship Group. And afterwards we're going to convene around this round table with the stakeholders and the governor, and he can share his story about how he was involved in the Block Island wind farm and lessons he learned, and as a businessman, how the certification will help him in a potential intern program. And so with that, we were able to create a database of 600 Rhode Island-based companies that could serve this industry. And so what we want to do in year 2 of the grant is have a matchmaking supply chain summit and offshore wind energy, because at that point, Deepwater Wind will announce who their main contractor is, and they'll be looking for subcontractors. So it's all very real now. In the past, people were talking about it, but now that Deepwater Wind has been awarded these contracts, people are really seeing it start to happen. And so we want to be ahead of the game and have the students prepared and be able to apply for these jobs, because there will be a lot of jobs. We also created this new WindWin, which we say now, instead of it's a win-win, we say it's a wind-win. So we have these stickers that I'll hand out to everybody. This is also to generate excitement and interest, increase awareness with all the students. And Michelle Frank, who's on our board, who's a graphic designer, designed the logo. I came up with the slogan here, the title. And so it's a great team. And then second year, I mentioned a lot of what we want to do already in the second year. With the marine safety, transportation, wind energy businesses, again, we want to have a beta test with that. And we also want a beta test with Kong USA. We met Kong at our supply chain conference, and Nate's here today with Kong, and they provide the fasteners that enables the crew to get off the vessel and onto the turbine. And so they've been very helpful, and they have this amazing SPRAT training for people who work at heights at their facility in Bristol that we toured. And so we're talking about doing more work with them and training the students at heights too. Again, this is another certification, another course and certification that they'll have that falls under the offshore wind that's applicable to other jobs too. So any job working at heights, once they have that, they're set. So it's transferable skills that we're looking at as well.